I've never been much of a fighter. Apologies for what you're about to see.
Come on.
Are you afraid?
You should be.
You're in the great game now, and the great game is terrifying.
We are sent for creatures. We deserve death. We all do.
One way or another, the gift will be given. One way or another, a face will be added to the whole.
Getting into the world of prosthetics was always something I really wanted to do. I grew up in the north of England. My father was manager of a local cinema. I sort of grew up with Star Wars and all the science fiction films of the 70s. I spent a lot of my childhood in my bedroom covering myself in latex, blood and gore. Quite early on I realised I wanted to make creatures and monsters. Things out of rubber, basically. So a show like Game of Thrones is kind of like a bucket list. We will actually concept and design the characters. A lot of our crew concentrate on painting. A lot of guys are from a very sculptural sort of background, hairdressing, definitely an artistic process. Whatever the brief is for the character, we have to be practical about things. The artist is going to be able to wear this stuff day in, day out. It's not too heavy, they're going to be able to breathe. So to create a prosthetic makeup and apply it to an actor is very much a team effort. From your sculpting, your mold makers, your people who run silicons, people who put hair onto pieces. You could have a team of 10, 15, 20 people who could do the whole process from start to finish. And then you could have 2 to 5 people on the day actually gluing these pieces on. So it's definitely a team effort, and it's something I couldn't be responsible for myself. The build of a character would usually start with a life cast, basically making a mould of the actor's head, which we can then make duplicate heads out of. We would then sculpt the makeups and all the forms in a modelling clay all over the head, and then we would make moulds of the modelling clay basically on the formers of their face. Once we have our moulds, the majority of our appliances are made out of silicone rubber, which can be glued to the face, and then the edges can be blended away. We might be applying hair, which are usually punched in with a very fine needle, all individually. And then we would need to do duplicate sets of prosthetic appliances for every single day that the character films. It's all quite a painstaking process, really, from start to finish. We usually say an average kind of build time is about 4 weeks for a prosthetic character. Our daily process in the prosthetics department, we'd usually have like 2-3 a.m. calls, get our artists in the chair. The process of gluing them into their prosthetics is usually about 2 to 3 hours, and the guys would then travel to hair. The moment we start with these guys to the moment they step onto set, it could be 5 or 6 hours. And then we would have a filming day of say about 8, 9, 10 hours, following the artists around all day, is prodding them and maintaining the makeup. Then at the end of the day, we'd then have the de-rigging process, which involves us basically peeling the prosthetics off with a brush and mineral oils. And so you can't just rip these things off because it would take a layer of the skin with it. And then we would usually be the last out at the end of the day. What makes Game of Thrones so special? I don't think I've ever worked on a project that's got such a varied amount of prosthetics and have such a variety of things to make that it's very rare you'll be on a project and you'll be decapitating somebody the one week and then you'll be doing a full body prosthetic the next week. But the most enjoyable memories was probably the end of Hardhome last year. It was very cold, wet, muddy, smoke, snow. We had it all going on. We were covering them in loads of rubber each day. At times it felt like pandemonium, and then you just look across and have a look at the monitor, and it was so cleverly choreographed and orchestrated. You couldn't believe what you were seeing on film was what was right next to you. The feeling of achievement was incredible. I think that's probably one of the best memories I'll take home so far from Game of Thrones.
He's gone.
World was on fire, no one could save me but
We're the only ones who matter, and everything they've taken from us, we're going to take back and more.
strange what desire will make foolish people do.
The great victory I saw in the flames, all of it was a lie.
What a wicked game you play. Make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do.
Every one of us is poor and powerless, yet we can overthrow an empire.
Now,
You're in the great game now. And the great game is terrifying.
with you.
Order your man to step aside or there will be violence.
I choose violence.
Nobody knows no one.
I've never been much of a fighter. Apologies for what you're about to see.
The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword.
I've won every battle. But I'm losing this war.
Show them how it feels to lose what they love.
Everyone is mine to torment.
The long night is coming. And the dead come with it.
Every one of us is poor and powerless. And yet together, we can overthrow an empire.
Winterfell is mine. Come and see.
Yevosak. Yorak mahake sonyeri. Khalesi vosi.
We watch, we listen, and we remember. The past is already written. The ink is dry.
They have no idea what's going to happen.
The best aspect of being a camera operator has got to be the sort of physical one-to-one with the camera and creating a shot that the director has in his mind's eye, let's say, and you have to decipher the nuances of what he wants from what he's brought or read from the script and make that practical.
Well, you're always helping the director achieve their vision. A lot of it is just listening to your directors, watching your actors. You're often given a task, so you set your camera, whether it be a track, and you know you've got various actors coming at various times. Largely it is just letting it all play out, so when something's rehearsed, you get to sort of get a feel for how it's all going and which is the best place to put yourself in order to tell that story.
I enjoyed the buzz of being on set. I like the creativity, working with different directors of photography. Some people like to dictate where you put the camera, and other people will give you more of a free rein and ask you to sort of put your creativity into it.
It is completely different from working on a single drama where you're working with the same DOP and director for maybe 3 or 4 months. It makes it certainly more interesting in a way because everybody's got a different approach to how they work and you just adapt to that, really.
The creativity is always there, but often you do work to instruction and then try and build on that idea. So even though the idea might be given to you, your duty is still to keep improving on that idea and keep it going.
When I frame a shot, you watch the scene, you read the words, you try and appreciate the location you're in, which can be often either geographical or light-driven. And then you start from the beginning. You start usually from a shot that encompasses the whole scene, and then you break it down into sections that will cover the people involved or the story involved in that scene.
I look for strong shots, good, nice compositions, but it's no good having a nice composition if you're not telling the story.
The story is the key thing, isn't it? You know, let's just say it's a sad character or an angry character. You would immediately start finding your frame would just be heavier or harder or lower, or the mood of the actor will also just draw you to frame the camera in a slightly different way. So sometimes it's not just a signature style that you might have, it's what's happening in front of you which just draws your eye to land the frame in a certain way.
I think it's very much an instinct thing, be it a long shot or a mid shot or a close-up. It's just a question of getting the right balance. There's no hard and fast rules to it, really.
If a shot is wrong, it's more obvious than if a shot is right. It just doesn't sit. However, there are no rules, and sometimes if you search around, it becomes very interesting. I would say the greatest challenge we've come across on Game of Thrones is probably the terrain for us. Yes, we shoot some very beautiful photographs, or at least I hope we do, but to get the cameras into those positions and to overcome the challenges and still make it look fantastic and great, that's the big thing.
Wind, rain, heat. Often these locations are dusty and gritty, so the gear is always having to be sort of carefully looked after. The chances are we'll have a lot of horses or a fight sequence, so we're going to generate more dust. As well as that, we'll probably put lots of fire aspects in. There'll probably be lots of special effects guys with big fans throwing grit through them to even make it even worse. So whatever the environment is, we tend to sort of enhance it to make it more exciting visually. But as a result, it's quite punishing on the crews.
It's tough. It's working a lot of the time in rain and mud with the camera covered up in plastic and us on Gore-Tex out in all weathers. And little things like changing a filter becomes a major deal. I have to say that all the camera assistants and the grips do a fantastic job, and they make my job much easier.
It's really that understanding that what you see on the monitors or what you see through the eyepiece of the cameras, that really is the work of absolutely everyone on the crew. For me, it's the most important thing that's recognised and that people really sort of appreciate that it takes absolutely every member of this crew for that to happen and it be as good as it is.
Over the 6 seasons, my experience on Game of Thrones has been quite extraordinary. It's given me such an exciting amount of challenges. Crane work, Steadicam, handheld. It's just been extraordinary. I've been so very, very lucky, and I will look back on it in the years to come with great pride.
The camera operator is almost the best seat in the house. You are right at the front. Anything that happens, that camera's moved by you, and you're then with your actors. And often if their performance is extraordinary, which is quite regular on this show, then you really are drawn in and really in a fantastic place to be part of that. Best seat in the house, it really is.
Hang on, Nathan!
Where is the artifact?
Heads up!
I made a promise that I was done with this life.
How long have we been chasing this thing?
Long time.
Real long time. Just you and me. No offense to these guys, but they don't get it.
If you're done...
The world needs the X-Men.
That's why I'm here. To fight.
Not all of us can control our powers.
Then don't. This is war.
Everything they built will fall! And from the ashes of their world, we'll build a better one!